Okay, guys, let's dive in and talk about language. So, language is huge and ties in really well with what we just talked about with your story. Words have so much freaking power. I mean, so much power. And there's so much energy around the words that we say. And a lot of people are going through life not knowing how much power and energy that words have and how much weight words carry. And when you start to shift the words you're saying and the language that you're using, like it is magical what can happen around you. So let me give you an example quickly just to kind of dive in here. I have suffered from anxiety and panic attacks my whole life, or as far as I can remember at least, like on from a time I was a kid all the way through adulthood. And I am in the best situation and I would almost say like remission from it. Like I still have it here and there, but I have it very much under control at this point in my life. And it's truly from all of the mindset work and practice that I've done over the years and a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching you guys in here. And so this is a perfect example of what we just talked about and the language. So for a long time, I would tell people I have anxiety. And I see this with so many people. I mean, I have anxiety, I have depression, I have this, I have that, right? And yes, I mean, have I been medically diagnosed with anxiety and depression in my life? Yes, for sure. And there's a purpose for all that. I don't want to take away from that, but I just want you to think about this and consider it. When I say I have anxiety, it gives anxiety power over me. So anxiety has me. Anxiety owns me and has power over me. And that's a very powerful thing because it gives the power to the anxiety and removes the power from me. I don't have power over the situation. When I say I have anxiety, anxiety has me. How I have reframed this over the years is now I say anxiety is a symptom or symptoms of what's going on in my brain. And sometimes that anxiety flares up and I notice anxiety and it's a sign or a signal to me that something is going on in my brain that is making me feel anxious. Think of the weight of the two of those things. I have anxiety. I have depression. I'm depressed. Anxiety has me. I am completely a prisoner to anxiety. You know, like think about that. Like I have anxiety. That's my story. I don't have anxiety. Sometimes anxiety shows up in my life because I have things going on in my brain that I'm avoiding or not taking care of, and it makes me anxious. But I have complete control over how I respond to those anxious feelings, and I can overcome them. I can overcome them, and I do overcome them. And in fact, I've survived every single situation in my life where I had anxiety and panic come up. I've survived every single time. So what you want to do when you're in a situation where you're trying to overcome these feelings, right? And you're rewriting, you're rewiring, you're changing your language, you're trying to overcome these sensations, the resistance that you're feeling, you want to give yourself evidence to support the story, the new story, okay? So remember when I said you're always out in your life looking for evidence in situations and things that are happening to support the story that you're going with. Maybe the not so great story, right? So it's the same thing. If you're going to rewrite a new story, then you need to look for evidence to help support your new story. And one of the best pieces of evidence is if you're still here, if you've survived everything that you've overcome thus far, right? Which if you're watching this video, it means you are. And so you've survived every single one of your hardest days. You're still here. And it's powerful to just say that to yourself and repeat that to yourself. I'm still here. Like I've survived every single anxiety episodes, anxiety attacks, panic episodes, panic attacks. I mean, I have ended myself up in the ER, you guys, more times than I like to share because anxiety and depression and panic attacks used to own me. And that was the story that I went with. And I said, that it was who I was because of the things that happened to me, and that there was no way out. Like, that was just who I was. And thank God I learned the tools and I had resources given to me that led me to learn how to overcome that. And that's what I'm giving you guys. And I'm so passionate about this now because I think there's so many people out there, yourself included, maybe, that could really overcome a lot of things in your life easier and quicker than you think you can. You just haven't been given the right tools and resources to do that yet. So let me kind of explain a couple words that I have truly almost removed from my vocabulary, and then just kind of encourage you to think of maybe words that you use on a day-to-day basis that aren't serving you. So actually the same mentor that I've referred to in a past video also taught me this, and that is to remove the word struggling or struggle from your vocabulary. You will be shook. Some of you will be shook at how many times throughout the day you say struggle or struggling. I struggle to do this. I'm struggling to do this. Struggle. I mean, it's like I was saying it all the time. And there's a lot of weight, that negative weight that comes with the word struggling. Same with can't. I can't do this. I can't do that, which that one's pretty obvious, right? Like, but truly, have you ever challenged yourself to identify the amount of times that you say can't in a day? Probably not. So wake up tomorrow and go through the whole day and see how many times you say the words can't and struggle. And even just the awareness, I think, blows people's minds and opens their minds to, wow, I am using really heavy language throughout the day. I'm using negative language throughout the day. Words are everything. I mean, they really are.